Hey everybody, Alex here. Welcome back to Momentum Charting. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please do me a quick favor, go down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. It is the only way to ensure you do not miss a single update from now forward on SAVA, Cassava Sciences. Let's get into the chart here, guys. So today, obviously, as you know, we are going to be discussing the chart, everyone's favorite stock, SAVA, Cassava Sciences. And last we talked was, I think, last update video I did was 2 days ago, and we were looking for two things. Or the basic outline of the update was two things. Number one, the primarily and most important thing was that we had broken above this overhead resistance at $118 and were trending sideways, consolidating. And I pointed out that what I was waiting for on this was a hold of this line at 118 and a break back to the upside in a strong pattern, and that is exactly what we ended up getting. Beautiful little consolidation pattern here and just an explosion of price to the upside in the last couple days. So, and I pointed out to you guys that I was looking for this top in this momentum to break to the upside on the 3 hour. And we did indeed get that at the near the end of the day on the 3 hour chart on July 27th. And that really continued today quite nicely. Pulled back a little bit on SAVA towards the end of the day from about 142.50, closing more in the 135 zone. But guys, I'm looking at this chart just like I was telling you guys last time. There is nothing in this chart but everything that exudes bullishness to me right now, and I have simply got to keep that theme going for SAVA, and I'm going to show you a couple of reasons why I believe that to be true. Again, looking at our momentum chart, are we to some extent overextended? Well, possibly in some regards, but also, I would much rather have momentum overextended to the upside than overextended to the downside when you're working on these bullish trends. And the reason being is when you are operating in these zones of momentum up here where SAVA is currently working, this is what gives you your largest chance to have the biggest price movements to the upside and the biggest breakouts. And just to give you an example, on SAVA here, if we are able just to hold this line of support on the momentum around 47.82 and somehow just able to chop sideways back and forth for a couple months, just even horizontal sideways, that's what's going to end up happening is that's going to end up bringing prices on SAVA much higher. Much higher. You're going to get these smaller dips and these big explosions to the upside, okay? So that's what's going to happen as long as we are able to hold that line of the momentum line. Now, what we need to happen here, again, yes, hold this line. That's going to be key for a while moving forward. I'm going to actually I'm going to increase the size of that just so we know that that's in place, and that's an important trend line that we need to watch. But eventually, you guys know what I say, eventually over time, stocks and trends always reveal themselves. So what's going to happen here over time, we are going to get something that's kind of displaying, as long as we can stay above that trend line, a series of somewhat higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so we're going to want to watch that. And when we start seeing the development, if this were to occur, which I think it's very likely to occur, then what we're going to do is we're going to end up setting a new trend line and watching that to the upside. And you can have usually between 1 and 2 points of momentum. For instance, if this takes off like just horizontally here, this is first gear, and then if you were to get a steeper slope of this trend line, that would be like third gear, and this would be fifth gear, right? If you were to start getting a line of a trend line of momentum to the upside like this. So we definitely, if we were to get this fifth gear and have this thing break to to the downside, we want to be really careful about our long positions and potentially, again, look to take profits, okay? So that's kind of the game plan moving forward. I'm going to keep you guys up to date on all this. Again, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notifications for every single SAVA update I'm going to do every week moving forward. You're not going to want to miss them. So yeah, I'm seeing, again here, guys, just pure bullishness in this trend still here. And honestly, I have no idea. Really, it's blue skies for SAVA. Pretty good volume coming in every day, and just this alignment right now of purely bullish momentum above these zones here at 47.5. So I'm going to continue to watch for this. Now, the other thing that could happen here potentially, I'll show you the 1 hour. Looks like this is kind of what towards the end of the day brought us down in price a little bit, but absolutely nothing to worry about here. So what can happen tomorrow? We get a slight retrace, and then this thing starts working back to the upside again, right? So what that might look like on the 3 hour chart is starting to get some sort of series of where you can clearly see here, like sideways and then moving up, and then slight dip and then moving up, and then slight dip and then moving up. And this is even more bullish than like those these mid-sloping trend lines. So if you were to get something like this, I mean, sky is really basically the limit. But again, if you were to get something like this, you do need to set a trend line and be very, very cautious and careful to watch that break, because a lot of times when those sort of vertical hill climb momentum moves happen, when it breaks to the downside, you get these big pullbacks in prices. So we're going to want to be watching for every scenario to develop here, and that's why I want to just be patient here and kind of enjoy the ride right now on SAVA. I'm seeing absolutely no danger signs of any big pullbacks right now. This is a point where you just take your SAVA, and if it pulls back, and as long as you're in these positive areas and haven't dropped below this important momentum line, you just keep adding to your positions and just keep riding this thing to the upside. So that's kind of where I'm at on SAVA. Everything here just, again, exuding a lot of bullishness. Daily momentum, still no sell signals, still pointed straight to the upside. Yeah, broken out of this important trend line at 118 and starting to work higher and higher. And lastly, I just wanted to show you guys, I wanted to show you the MACD on the 2-minute time frame, which is kind of interesting too. You can get these things. So I pointed this out in the last video, I think. I was waiting for this thing to bottom, which we did get on the 27th. So we've kind of got our line in the sand here now on the MACD. And again, much like the momentum chart, where you can get these on the, let me go back to the 3 hour here, where you can get this thing in this really positive momentum zone, just churning back and forth. It's really the same thing here on the MACD that's operating above this 80 area, above this red line, and we can get something like this, a trend that just goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and again, operating in these zones will take the price of SAVA much higher. And so we want to watch for that. And so I've got basically those 2 points I'm going to be watching for either a breakdown of this line of momentum for a potential short-term momentum reset, and looking for a spot to re-enter the stock, just like we had here July 15th to July 20th on this pullback here, waiting for a reset and exploded back to the upside. So potentially waiting for, again, scenario A, breakdown of this momentum trend line, or scenario B, if we start developing a concrete series of higher highs and higher lows, and we can set a trend line, watching for that trend line to break. So either scenario A, B, or C, a definitive break to the downside of this 2-minute on the MACD. So I'm going to be watching for all three of those closely. This is our least important here on the MACD, but I do like to have it in place just to kind of get a broad view, like if we're just continuing to operate in this area. There's literally no reason to even think about selling shares in SAVA. So I just kind of like to have this as a backup. But again, 3-hour momentum is kind of the thing that I'm really watching here for a breach to the downside and for the trend to reveal itself where we're headed to the upside. So that's my update for SAVA, guys. You may have forgotten, but just subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my updates this week. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. And yeah, everything looking great. Let's just enjoy the ride here, guys, and see where it takes us. Thank you so much for being here. See you on the next update video. Bye for now.